ago, when America was a wilderness, the only people living in it were Indians. In the eastern part of the country, where there were dense forests, lived the Woodland Indians. Most of their needs came from the woodlands: fish and game for food, and animal furs and hides for clothing. Even their homes, such as this bark-covered lodge, were made of woodland materials. Many of the Woodland Indians lived together in tribes, each tribe having its own language, laws, and chief. Some tribes lived in villages. Here they might remain for years, as long as the food supply was good. These Indians lived in the woodlands along the eastern coast, near the Atlantic Ocean. And here lived most of the Woodland Indians. But the woodlands stretched west, too, as far west as the Mississippi River. And at one time, Woodland Indians lived in all of this area. Let's visit a family of Chippewa Indians living here in the Great Lakes region. Fall was a time when Woodland Indians set out in their birch bark canoes to get more food for the cold winter months ahead. This family of Indians has left their village to go across a lake and into the forest. They are returning to a place where they know hunting is good and where they can gather food. They land at a favorite spot and unload their canoes. The head of the family, the father, has come to hunt. He's brought his bow and sharpest arrows. Mother and daughter came to gather wild rice, so they are bringing baskets and their harvest tools. One son, the older one, has his quiver of arrows and his bow for hunting. The younger son, called Little Bear, hopes he will be a hunter too someday. Near the water is the camp, used by the family every year. Father leads the way to their shelter, called a wigwam. He approaches cautiously to make sure no wild animal or other enemy has occupied the shelter. Everything is in order. The wigwam, with its bark walls and wooden frame, is just about the way they left it last year. The family can set up their camp. Father tells his sons they can go hunting. Is brother ready? Yes, brother has his bow and arrows, and he has his stone hatchet, his tomahawk. Little Bear is ready too. Besides his bow and arrows, he has a knife. The blade has been chipped from a piece of flint. A few words of farewell, and off they go to hunt in the woods. Mother and sister have work to do. While Mother stores the furs and other household goods, Sister looks after the family's food. In her garden in the village, she raised several kinds of vegetables. There are squashes and gourds, beans, corn or maize, and yams. These foods will be cooked in the fire pit. Sister cleans the pit, which has not been used since last fall. Mother, meanwhile, has put away everything except her favorite fur robe. It is a large deerskin used as a blanket. Sister has finished her work, and now Mother is bringing birch bark baskets and a fishing line. This line is a long sinew with a fishhook of bone. They will use the baskets to harvest wild rice that grows in the lake. Perhaps they will do some fishing, too. While they go out on the water, the men are hunting, deep in the wildest part of the woods. They move very carefully, very quietly. Little Bear knows that animals must not be frightened away. In his soft deerskin moccasins, he moves without a sound. He knows that sound. It's the woodpecker. Little Bear knows every sign of wild animals. Is that something moving? What is it? Oh, a skunk. A skunk isn't good for food. And Little Bear knows that animals must never be killed just for sport. After a while, they step out of the woods into a small clearing. They have come a long way without seeing any game, and Little Bear is disappointed. And then, look! Yes, Father sees it too. There, near the big tree, a wild turkey. Little Bear doesn't make a sound. Very quietly, Father signals a plan to his two sons. The turkey is still there in the shadow. Brother moves to a hiding place. Little Bear moves to the other side of the clearing. Father sees that his sons are ready. He fits his sharpest arrow to his bow. Then, a signal to Little Bear. And Little Bear makes a certain sound he knows. The sound of a wild turkey. The turkey hears it. A hit! Father has hit the turkey. Careful. If it's wounded, it may still get away. No. The arrow found its mark. It's a fine bird. And Little Bear did a good job of turkey calling. There will be plenty of food tonight. Meanwhile, Mother and Sister have been gathering food too, in a marshy part of the lake. This is wild rice. They are harvesting the grains of rice. As Sister pulls the canoe in the shallow water, Mother bends the rice stalks with one stick and beats off the grains of rice with the other. The grains of rice fall into the basket. How good the rice will taste in the cold winter days ahead. And here is more food. The fish Sister has caught on the way across the lake. Yes, Mother agrees that they have gathered a good supply of food. Now they can go back to camp. The men are waiting for them as Mother and Sister return. Father is pleased to see the rice and fish Mother and Sister have. Then Little Bear proudly shows them the turkey they brought back. What a fine turkey it is. The feathers might be used for a head decoration. The bones could be used for needles and fish hooks. And of course, the meat would feed the whole family. And what a meal they have that night. There is the wild rice they harvested, corn and beans from their garden at home, and of course, the turkey. The meal tastes especially good to Little Bear. After all, he did help to provide it. And because he did so well, Father tells Little Bear that he may wear a feather of the turkey as a reminder of the hunt. Little Bear is very proud. He will remember this day for a long time. And we will remember it too. A day in the lives of a family of woodland Indians of long ago.